Hello again, it's Lock Noob and you're watching my side channel Side Noob, and recently I picked this Yardeni padlock, which, as you can tell from the bitting, didn't take me very long to do. Now, one thing which I didn't do is I didn't gut this lock, so if I can just, there you go, turn it, take it out, and I'm being very ginger with it for a reason. Let's turn it back again to its lock position and just remove the key. We should be able to get a screwdriver all the way down to the back. Now, I didn't gut it because I didn't know you could do this. I just assumed it was a sealed unit. Turns out it isn't. So yeah, you could probably upgrade this lock if you were that way inclined. Now, I didn't have a screwdriver with a head slim enough, so you might just be able to tell that I have filed down the head of the screwdriver. Now, full disclosure here, I'm not feeling very well today, and I think that my fuzzy brain has given me a lack of concentration, and it's meant that I've sort of messed up gutting this lock once already. And I've done a bit of pre-work on this lock because there is a gigantic pin. You probably see I've mangled it a little bit with some pliers trying to pull it out. That is literally hammered in here all the way down into the plug, leaving about, I don't know, 2-3 millimeters above the top of the lock here. And that stops it from, well, one, the plug pulling out when you remove the key, but two, it limits its rotation by about 90 degrees. There's a groove that runs along inside. Now, with my fuzzy brain, I wasn't thinking what I was doing, and when I use a follower to push the core out, the fifth pin, fifth pin, dropped inside that groove which the retaining pin normally sits in, this one. And the only way that I could reasonably get it out was to hit the key with a hammer, forcing the plug to shear off the top of the pin. And if it wasn't a mushroom pin, I don't know if I would have been able to do it. So yeah, there is that. So that isn't great, but it was a way out, and the lock definitely still works. But it's taken a bit of a beating. So I want to put it back together. We're just going to leave it all alone. So getting this all out isn't particularly easy either, so pop the key in again like that. We turn it, but we want to turn it past the 90 degrees and then turn it again to about that position so that we can get a follower in, and you can just about make out here where we have the pin stack. So then what I want to do is essentially just push the whole plug out like that, which is quite smooth, and we'll drop out all of the key pins, which I think, I've not actually looked at all of them, but I think they're all standard. They seem to have a tapered top. I don't know if that really means anything in the context of this lock. It certainly didn't seem to make it harder to pick. But yeah, the tops of these key pins do have a slight taper. I'll show you what I mean. Pull that up there. Can you just see that it tapers off at a small angle, about 10 degrees, I'd say. There you go. Now, the driver pins. One of these is a replacement now, because I had to shear the top off it, but I think you'll see that what I replaced was pretty good, if not better. So number 1 is standard, number 2 is standard. These are not tapered though, so it's only tapered key pins, which is interesting. And then we have the original mushroom spool, and then my replacement here. And I'll show you the options that I had available. Mushrooms and that kind of stuff are not a pin which you can easily find replacements for. But you can see here that I have the original spool. The mushroom spool is quite sort of thin-lipped at the top. This is the sheared one, and I had two options really. a spool pin like this, which has a thin lip and is about the same height and everything like that. But I went for the mushroom because even though the lip isn't quite as high, I found that when I looked inside the lock, the mushroom part of the spool seems to work just like the one that's in here. So I went for the mushroom because it's more like what it should be rather than the standard sort of spool. And yeah, it all seems to work when it's all assembled. So that's it. The answer was, what was in this lock? All standard key pins, albeit tapered, and all standard driver pins apart from driver pin 4 and 5, which are mushroom spools, which is interesting. You don't really see those very often outside of a few Yales and a few other locks. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that little video of me, you know, gutting this lock finally. And I'll see you all over on my main channel next time.